Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I hope all of you enjoyed Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires. I thought it was one of the best movies of the entire franchise. Having said that, I just got in through my window after 5 a.m. this morning after having killed and slayed a bunch of vampires, zombies, and werewolves. And this gig never gets easy. Although, this gig never did choose me. I chose it. Because somebody's got to do it. And sometimes you've got to do a lot of stuff that you never ever thought you would do. And so everybody needs to be protected. Every girl deserves to feel loved and protected. And that's why I do this. Because I want to protect all of you from zombies, werewolves, and vampires every night of my life. I've been doing it for 30 years, and it never gets easy. And you know, conveniently enough, I found this house near a soda plantation, a chemical plant, and a noodle shop, so that if my YouTube channel doesn't get a bunch of subscribers, at least I can apply for a job at the local noodle shop, which I really don't want to have to do. And to make matters worse, I live 5 minutes away from a soda plantation and a chemical plant that could explode. I really do. And you haven't lived until you live near a soda plantation and a chemical plant that could have exploded. Having said that, I really do love this whole idea of how Victor and Nova's characters, portrayed by Malachi Burton and Freya Skye, saw each other in their dreams. And they finally met in Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires, setting up for the torch to have been passed. It was a real unforgettable moment, and a moment where we knew it was going to be significant because the torch was being passed to these new characters. We didn't know what to expect. We don't know what's in that vortex for Zombies 5 by the time we get to it. Could it be mermaids? Could it be pirates? Could it be witches? We don't know what's in that vortex. All I know is that if I were a part of the cast of Zombies 5, I would kick a whole lot of ass. And I'm really excited to see what is inside of that vortex. Taken from a guy who's been hunting vampires, slaying werewolves, and zombies for what feels like forever. You haven't lived until your best friend chases you at a Halloween dance up to the school library and you have to vertical suplex him into a bookshelf. When you didn't even know it was your best friend dressed up as Dracula that night. That was over 25 years ago. Next thing I knew, the ambulance was called, and on that fateful night, when I put my best friend in the hospital after he had dressed up as a vampire, his name was Josh. He has a YouTube channel where he blows shit up on his Science Project YouTube channel. I knew then on that fateful night that I was going to slay vampires for the rest of my life. And I've encountered a lot of that in my lifetime, which is why this is the best YouTube channel for a review of Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires. So I think you're going to want to subscribe, and you're going to want to stay tuned. Because Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires really did touch my heart. It really did. Forget about me vertical suplexing vampires who were my best friend dressed up in Halloween costumes that I thought were real 20 years ago, because you can never be too prepared. But Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires was something very special to me. It really did touch my heart. I think the friendship between Malachi Burton's character Victor and Freya Skye's character Nova really set this one ablaze. Everybody immediately said they looked adorable together and so cute. And they did look so freaking cute. I will admit to each and every one of you, I fell in love with their characters, and I'm really excited for the future of Zombies now that the torch has been passed. And it was really a significant moment to be highlighted, because when the torch is passed, that means that these characters are saying goodbye to the franchise that made them stars. I mean, Mila Manheim, Meg Donnelly were made famous, made celebrities, because of how famous Zombies was. Their characters, Zed and Addison, will forever leave an imprint on so many people's hearts and have changed so many people's lives. They will go down in history as game changers, without a doubt. But I remember seeing Zombies for the very first time. I was talking to my friend about this just last night. Last night was her birthday. Happy birthday, by the way. I love you so much. And we were talking about how Zombies had really changed the landscape of every movie that Disney had ever put out, or every other franchise that they had tried to promote over the years. And Zombies has done this in such a powerful way, because so many people now are so more courageous. So many people don't care anymore about what people think of them. They are standing up for what they believe in. They believe that they can find their true love. He or she can find somebody to fall in love with and stay in love with them for the rest of their lives. And I really do appreciate that, because I think that a lot of franchises for Disney Disney have never heard the words I love you into a script. I do believe that Zombies was one of the first Disney Channel movies or franchises for Disney Plus that ever had the words I love you saw in a script. And I was really excited to see the words I love you in the script for Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, because it was just something offered to a Disney Channel script for a Disney Plus movie that I had never seen before, and I was really excited about it. Zed was going to zombie out. He was going to die. He was going to be a zombie for the rest of his life. And I said, perfect opportunity for Jonathan Clarke to see his introduction into the Zombies franchise as a vampire slayer. Finally, I will have the opportunity to win the heart of Addison. Before Addison, of course, saved him, and then she went off to cheer college, and I've got to take a jumbo jet now to try to save Meg Donnelly from all obscurity and finally win her heart, which is quite difficult. You know, I think the personalities of these characters is really what did it for me. In 2018, when I first got a look at Meg Donnelly and I heard she was going to be a part of Zombies, I said she really had something special. And I knew she was really going to blow up Disney Channel in a way of great ratings, great reviews, and so many people fell in love with her. And I think so many people fell in love with her ever before they fell in love with Troy Bolton and Gabriela Montez, played by Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens. And that's coming from a guy who was incredibly supportive of High School Musical over a decade ago. High School Musical was the greatest Disney Channel movie ever produced, eventually landing on the big screen just as Hannah Montana did following suit. But I remember being such a huge fan of High School Musical and Hannah Montana, and as powerful as those franchises were with how many millions of fans were inspired by, because every little girl wanted to sing and dance like Hannah Montana. Every little girl wanted to sing on stage and perform like the stars of High School Musical. That'd be the reason why Disney Plus now has the series High School Musical, the series, with Kylie Contrell doing a fabulous job as her character Tony on that series. Beautiful series, a series that ended long before its time, just as Gabby Dern and the Unsittables was a series that ended long before its time. Bizarre Vark, another one, and of course Raven's Home, after being such a huge fan of Raven Simone for years, a true legend in the game. I just want to say this. Anyone who criticizes Zombies, you really don't know what's up. You really don't know what's happening. And you don't really know or really consider how many people have been captivated because of Zombies. Because of Zombies, I am nearly almost 40 years old, and I live in a house near a soda plantation and a chemical plant, and I plan on staying here for the rest of my life. Regardless if my house is haunted or not, I plan on living out the rest of my life in a house near a soda plantation and a chemical plant, just so if there are 10 Zombies movies, I can really feel what it's like to be a part of this franchise. I am so excited for the future of this franchise. I am so excited for the love story between Nova and Victor, because I think that Malachi Burton and Freya Sky are really offering something special to this franchise. Now, going into rumors of the torch being passed before I saw the premiere of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, because I have this thing of reviewing premieres of movies, I will admit to each and every one of you, I was somewhat skeptical on if Malachi Burton and Freya Sky were going to be able to do it, but I was reading so many great reviews about Malachi Burton's character, and he was one of those guys on Disney Channel that I just had made an exception for, and I almost immediately, almost instantly fell in love with this character and gave him the benefit of the doubt, something I never did years ago for Zac Efron or Corbin Bleu being a part of the High School Musical franchise. As great as they were in the way of offering something special to the High School Musical franchise, I was a bigger fan of Vanessa Hudgens and Ashley Tisdale and their off-of-screen friendship, which is something that we saw from a lot of the stars on the Zombies franchise, but it took them years to create franchises and promote franchises with friendships not only seen on camera, but off of camera. One of the biggest examples, of course, are friendships like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson of Descendants fame, and Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly of Zombies fame. I think that if there were two other people portraying the characters Zed and Addison for Zombies fame, I don't think that Zombies would have been as popular, and Descendants would be definitely light years ahead in the way of popularity of Zombies. But I know that Zombies has received its fair share of criticism, and that's what's really broken my heart about the Zombies franchise. I don't think enough reviews are being uploaded on YouTube, and not enough reviews are really presenting a really kind vibe when reviewing Descendants and Zombies. I know, sure, a lot of people say that Zombies was cool, it was a franchise that a lot of people loved, but I think the age demographic who love Zombies are the ones that are really putting it over. It's not necessarily the people on YouTube who are creating great reviews of Descendants and Zombies, because nobody is creating great reviews of Descendants and Zombies, especially not at 9:15 a.m. every morning when they sit on their podcast and haven't even finished their cup of tea. And I know, I drink tea out of a Mickey Mouse coffee mug every morning. You're going to have to forgive me because I am a real sweetheart. And I do believe that dreams can come true for anybody and happen for anybody. And I do believe that anyone can fall in love at any given moment. All they have to do is hold on to whatever dream they have and believe in whatever they believe. From the very first moment that you have had a dream, I don't think you have ever been able to give up on it or should give up on it. And I think that's something that Zombies has really instilled in all of our minds, is that no matter how difficult our dream seems to be or how unreachable it may seem, Zombies has instilled in our minds that every dream that a person has can and will happen for them. I love the music in Zombies too, especially Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. I will admit that it was a very different vibe for the music. It presented a Hannah Montana Camp Rock kind of feel. Now, Camp Rock was released back in 2007, 2008, so it wasn't yesterday that Camp Rock premiered. I remember Camp Rock for songs like This Is Me. That was a beautiful song. There was a song written individually for both Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas, and a collaboration of the song This Is Me with both of them doing a fabulous duet. And I think that Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was one of the first movies to give us really great duets, like the song Dream Comes True performed by Malachi Burton and Freya Sky's characters Victor and Nova. It really introduced us to a whole new outlook on the franchise and gave it a whole new perspective, and really made us believe by the end of songs like Go My Own Way and Dreams Do Come True that dreams really can happen for somebody who has doubted themselves all their life. And take it from a guy who has had a lot of doubt in his mind for what feels like forever. I am far from perfect. I never ever thought this show would explode in popularity the way that it has, but for some unknown reason of my own, this show has exploded in popularity with over 3,000 subscribers, over 40,000 plus views put up on this YouTube channel. It is truly unbelievable and an accomplishment that I never ever saw, a point, if you would, that I never ever thought this show would get to, but it's because of each and every one of you. One of the songs in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, of course, is called Legends in the Making. It was the opening dance number of the movie, and I certainly believe that these stars of the Zombies franchise will go down in history, and Descendants likewise will go down in history for being some of the greatest of all time, and will never ever be forgotten. And I say this because one of my greatest fears as a podcast host was never having my voice be heard and being forgotten about, because there is no worse feeling in this world of putting your life and all of your money behind a show and living in fear that the show is never going to be heard. One of my greatest fears is that my voice was never going to be heard, my show was never going to be picked up, nobody was ever going to watch my show on YouTube, listen to my show on the radio, and while it may have been proven to be true over the years with many opportunities that I've had, fading off into obscurity, Descendants of Zombies gave me the opportunity to reinvent myself, to come back as a stronger show with a stronger voice because of each and every one of you. You wanted a show about Descendants of Zombies and you got it. The very first girl who ever commented on one of my videos a year and a half ago hoped that everybody was going to watch my show, hear my voice, and subscribe and like my videos. And nearly a year and a half later, everybody subscribed, with over 3,000 subscribers having been put up on this YouTube channel, and I have each and every one of you to thank for that. I don't know how many years Zombies is going to last, but I think that Zombies is going to really stand the test of time. Descendants likewise is going to stand the test of time for the powerful music, the powerful script, the imprint that all the stars, the actresses more especially, like Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson, Ruby Rose Turner, who is somebody that I can't forget to mention. Every one of my videos I think I mentioned Ruby Rose Turner, and I do that because Ruby was so kind. Ruby was just a genuinely kind person who I love so much for just how kind she was. It's just a shame. It really breaks my heart that Ruby's time in the Descendants franchise was very short-lived. Ruby's song, Life is Sweeter When You Are, there's just something about Ruby's voice, having been on that song, that made that song so beautiful. I love Ruby so much for the message behind Life is Sweeter When You Are, and I've been reading rumors recently, I don't know how true they are, but apparently they are remaking the song Life is Sweeter When You Are for the Descendants Wicked Wonderland movie coming out in 2026. So if in fact they are remaking that song, I'm really interested to see how far they will take it with the voices of Kylie Cantrell and Liamani Segura being put on the ballad, because this song was always a song in my mind that was written for specifically Ruby Rose Turner. There was just something about her voice being incredibly beautiful, incredibly satisfying, and a voice that I can't live without. Although people would perhaps prefer Ruby's voice on the song, because I got that from the Worlds Collide tour when Freya Sky and Kylie Cantrell were left with the responsibility of singing songs that had been written and put together for people like Ruby Rose Turner who were absent from the tour. Also, Mila Manheim and Meg Donnelly were absent from the tour. I really don't know why, but I would presume it had something to do with the torch being passed. They could have still been involved with the Worlds Collide tour. I know they made a couple of guest appearances, but their involvement wasn't the greatest. Most of it was just a video message that was sent. I do know they made a couple of appearances on some of the tour dates, but for 43 arena dates, their appearances were very minimal. But I guess one can only imagine that it had something to do with how the torch was passed. You know, it's a really emotional time when the torch is passed. And I guess after the torch is passed, they try to keep it kayfabe and try to remain hidden from the public eye because, of course, they had been in 3 Zombies movies. And, of course, for them being on every one of the tour dates would have just defeated the purpose of the torch ever having been passed, because after the torch was passed, here comes the Worlds Collide tour less than a month later, and Freya Sky and Malachi Burton are on stage with Meg Donnelly and Mila Manheim, who passed the torch. So I guess, yeah, taking them out of it and leaving them as producers in a production role for the Worlds Collide tour was the most appropriate thing to do. But hey, if Meg Donnelly and Mila Manheim were seeing their exit from the Zombies franchise, that was the perfect opportunity for Jonathan Clarke to have been hired and gotten in, came in as the producer and the writer for Zombies 5, came in as the writer and producer of the Worlds Collide tour. Because if Jonathan Clarke comes in as the writer and producer of the Zombies Descendants Worlds Collide tour for part 2, or comes in for the writer and producer of Zombies 5 and Descendants 5 by the time we get to it, magic is really going to happen for the Zombies franchise. Every morning when I come in through that window after 5 a.m., after killing a bunch of vampires, werewolves, and zombies, I'm infected. That's why I have to have a cup of tea. There's infection juice in that cup of tea to revive me. But yeah, I thought the Worlds Collide tour was fabulously put together and fabulously collaborated, but I think it would have been more, brought to life if Jonathan Clarke would have been on board as the writer and producer of this thing. I was ultimately depressed because I wasn't going to be the writer and producer of the Worlds Collide tour, but I was really happy that everybody had a good time at the Worlds Collide tour. I was one of those hosts on YouTube that was really hoping that the Worlds Collide tour was going to explode in popularity and everybody was going to enjoy it. Not so much explode in popularity because I knew it was going to explode in popularity, but what I wanted to see happen was I wanted to see every little girl who ever had a dream go to the Worlds Collide tour and have fun. I didn't want to see a bunch of people going to the Worlds Collide tour who didn't know the first thing about the Worlds Collide tour and watch the show, which was 2.5 hours, 3 hours with the Q&A, and then come home, get on their expensive cameras like I do every morning of my life. Doesn't that remind you of somebody after a $400 camera had been invested into? And review Descendants and Zombies in a way that it was never meant to have been reviewed. If you're going to talk about Descendants and Zombies, what you have to do is you have to talk about it in a way that everybody is going to love you for reviewing Descendants and Zombies. Not just immediately criticize them because you didn't like a performance Kylie Cantrell conducted, or you didn't like how the chemistry was between the actors and the actresses for the movies or the on-stage performances, because I really do believe that Kylie Cantrell and Mila Baker have really brought something special to the Descendants franchise. Their friendship, for one thing, is something that I can never get enough of. These rumors of their apparent relationship off of camera is something that I can never get enough of, because I've often praised girls for their friendships with other girls outside of their relationships, where they tell girlfriends more than they've ever told their boyfriends. And I really appreciate that, and I have a lot of respect for girls who believe in friendships with other girls. I feel very strongly about that. And oftentimes I've emailed some of my friends saying thank you so much for having these beautiful friendships with your girlfriends, because you only have one life to live, and friendships only come along once in a lifetime. So because friendships only happen and come along once in a lifetime for a lot of people, I think it's something we really need to hold on to. And a lot of girls do that so beautifully, like Sophia Carson and Dove Cameron's friendship from years past, and of this friendship between Kylie Cantrell and Mila Baker, which is garnering a lot of attention. I think that it's absolutely heart-wrenching when girls can't Google themselves because they're afraid of what they'll find. So I kind of wanted to take that away from Kylie Cantrell and Mila Baker and give them something nice to Google and YouTube, because I think a lot of people are just uploading videos about Descendants and Zombies who have no business uploading videos about Descendants and Zombies, because I know how it goes, and I know what it's like to be you. Before I ever upload a video, I think about what it's like to be you and what you want to get the most out of your Descendants and Zombies fan experience. Because if I upload a video that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, then I'm not going to get any subscribers, I'm not going to get any likes, and then I'm going to be like, you got mail! And have a bunch of reviews from people that really are putting my show down, and I don't want to have to wake up every morning to, you got mail! And find out that everybody didn't like my videos. I think each and every one of you have an opinion and a voice about Descendants and Zombies. And over the years, over this past decade, you have let your voice be heard. And because you have let your voice be heard, Descendants and Zombies will go down in history for being one of the greatest franchises of all time. You have held on to the belief that every dream that a person has is achievable, no matter how unreachable that dream may seem to be. You have always believed that one can find their true love, and you've always believed in second chances, and you have promoted it. I just want to say thank you to everybody for having exploded this YouTube channel and supported it in a way that I never ever thought anybody would support this channel. I just thought this YouTube channel was going to be a channel that was going to fade off into obscurity and be forgotten about, because I know there are a lot of people that do upload Descendants and Zombies videos on YouTube every night of their life, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these videos being uploaded. I love each and every one of you so much for being incredibly supportive of this YouTube channel, because this YouTube channel is pretty much just hosted by a guy who shoots videos out of his bedroom. It is truly unbelievable how many people have supported this YouTube channel when they never had to. You have taken a chance on me for what feels like forever, and you've taken a chance on me for an eternity. When you could have subscribed to anybody else on YouTube, you saw the good in me when nobody else could ever do it. And I know I live in a house that's haunted. There are a lot of banging, a lot of noise in the background, I know. But that's the disadvantage of living in a haunted house. And if one really wants to live the zombies experience out, they have to live in a haunted house. So just to let you guys know what's going to be happening throughout the day on this YouTube channel, what's going to happen is that there are going to be videos uploaded throughout the afternoon, into the lateral part of the evening, and tonight before I sign off for the final time. So there will be a total of over 4 videos uploaded on this YouTube channel. I do this because I feel as if promising you Descendants and Zombies videos is one way of looking at it. But if you don't follow through on your videos, then you pretty much have defeated the purpose of ever creating a YouTube channel or uploading videos. Because I know how it goes. A lot of people are promising you Descendants and Zombies videos, but the videos are never ever surfacing. You are going to their YouTube channels, days pass, weeks pass, months pass, and no Descendants and Zombies videos are ever uploaded. I have always believed that life is sweeter when you are, and we can all make a profound impact and leave a forever imprint on everybody's hearts through the videos that we upload. I have never ever wanted to discourage anybody from a dream ever coming true or happening for them. And I feel the most powerful way of doing that is by uploading beautiful videos for each and every one of you, no matter what time of day those videos are uploaded. Even if it's just one video that's uploaded, you can make a difference in somebody's life. I know I tell you a lot of crazy stories about having lived across the road from people who I believe were vampires who worked at hospitals, or girls who I've dated who thought they were vampires, which is an actual disease. It's called Redington's disease, when a girl actually believes she's a vampire. It's a disease, of course, that guys and girls can both possess, but you have to look at that very carefully and deal with that in a very appropriate manner when that happens to you. That is a real thing that happens every day of our lives, and that's why Disney has drawn inspiration from movies like Zombies and Descendants. But more so, they've drawn inspiration from real-life situations where people have thought they are vampires, but they've also drawn inspiration from people who really do believe in hope. And that's something that I've never ever wanted to take away from anybody who has watched any of my videos about zombies or Descendants, is that hope really does exist for somebody. And I just want to say thank you so much for everybody holding on to a dream and really believing in something special. And most of all, really believing in me and taking a chance on me when you never really had to. It means the world to me, and more than you will ever know. If I can steal a quote from one of my girlfriends, it means more to me than you will ever know that over 3,000 people have subscribed to a YouTube channel hosted by a guy out of his bedroom every morning, every afternoon, every evening, and every night of his life. Between 1 to 4 videos uploaded on this YouTube channel every day of my life for the past year, and over 4,000 videos over the period of 26 years, it's unbelievable. Either videos or radio programs that I've hosted that a lot of people never ever wanted to listen to, because a lot of the stuff I was talking about didn't make sense to the niche that I was attracting. This is the first niche that has accepted me and embraced me with warm hugs, an open heart and an open mind, and I have each and every one of you to thank for that. So having said that, I really do believe that the Descendants and Zombies fans are the strongest and the most powerful force in the world, and I honestly don't know where I would be without each and every one of you. You mean so much to me, and I just can't even put into words how appreciative I am of each and every one of you. It's not even 10 a.m. this morning, and I've already recorded my first podcast on Descendants and Zombies, and I just want to say thank you so much for having believed into me and held on to this dream that we would see this YouTube channel become one of the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channels in the entire world. Because it really does mean so much to me. Because it truly is. This didn't happen because I decided to upload a bunch of Descendants and Zombies videos. This happened because of each and every one of you, and I want you to know forever and always you will hold a special place in my heart. Be kind to one another. I will be back at some point this afternoon with another video to drop for you on my YouTube channel, so make sure you join me for that and watch for that video. Don't forget to hit my subscribe and my like button. I mean, who out there doesn't say that for a video uploaded on YouTube? Bye, YouTube. We will do this again in just a few hours from now. Be kind to one another because kindness really does go a long way.